we have a big announcement. We're launching the Patreon, man. Here's why. We want to go deeper on topics. We want to, create content we can't put on the main show. We want to basically build a real community. Your support basically helps us level up. Link in the description. Come join us, man. All right, Eagle Nation. I need y'all to lock in with me real quick, man, because this is official. And we got to talk about it the right way. Not the emotional way. Not the sugar-coated way like I've been seeing. Look, man, the Philadelphia Eagles have officially hired Sean Mannion as their new offensive coordinator, man. This is no longer like speculation, no more maybe, no more he's a candidate. The hire is done. Finished. And, I want to be very clear from the jump about this. I'm not here to panic. I'm not here to sell you some fake excitement. I want to walk through everything, that I just learned on this hire, point by point, so the Philadelphia Eagle fans actually understand what this means. Look, man, this is what we do. This is what we do. You feel me? We let you have it straight. We give it to you straight. So I guess you're asking, who is Sean Mannion? Let's start the foundation right here. Sean Mannion is, coming from the Green Bay Packers, where he served as a quarterback coach. Before coaching, he was an NFL backup quarterback for the Rams, the Vikings, and also the Seahawks. In my opinion, he's been a career clipboard guy. And, I'm not saying that to disrespect him in any way, because in my opinion, man, backup quarterbacks usually become, the best coaches for some reason. Those guys survive in the league on the following, in my opinion: film study, preparation, defensive recognition, understanding why plays work. They don't survive on raw talent, or freelancing. That's not what they do. That background matters. Now, let's talk about the coaching tree, because that's a huge reason the Eagles felt comfortable, making this move, in my opinion, man. Sean Mannion comes out of, the Green Bay offensive ecosystem, which traces back to, Shanahan's, McVay, the LaFleur tree, all of those guys, man. Really, really good guys when it comes to coaching, in my opinion. In my opinion, that means, West Coast foundations, heavy play action, condensed formations, sequencing plays together instead of just random calls, making defenses wrong before the snap. That's what he specializes in. This is not an air raid philosophy. This is not a chaos offense. It's structured. It's about timing. It's about discipline. And, that lines up with what the Philadelphia Eagles were missing, especially last season with Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni at the helm. Now, man, this part matters. We got to talk about this because the Philadelphia Eagles history, it always matters to me. People forget about Andy Reid. He was a quarterback coach for Green Bay before he came to Philadelphia. He did not call plays. Andy Reid was not a proven head coach, when the Philadelphia Eagles hired him. He was a QB teacher, a developer. That's what he came to Philadelphia doing, Now, let's be clear, man. I am not saying Sean Mannion is Andy Reid. Everybody relax. Relax. But, the organizational philosophy is the same when you think about it. If, you can teach a quarterback, you can build offenses. That's the logic there. The Eagles always believe that as well. But let's talk about a few things that's kind of concerning, or let's get some confusion cleared up. Now, here's where, I'm going to slow it down a little bit, because this is where a lot of fans, including myself, made an assumption. Right? We thought something was going to happen. When you hear new offensive coordinator, you assume, or we were told, full autonomy, maybe his own playbook, his offense. That's what I thought. That's what I thought we was getting in a new offensive coordinator. But here's the truth. Sean Mannion is not walking into the building with a fully built standalone playbook. He's not. There is no Mannion offense binder getting slammed on the table. It's not. The Philadelphia Eagles already have the following: an offensive playbook, terminology, protections, motions, concepts. That stays. What Mannion brings to the table, to my opinion, is framework, not book. He brings, how the play is taught, how the quarterbacks are coached through progressions, how concepts are layered, how situations are handled, third downs, red zone, 2 minutes, those type of things. So the real reason isn't does he have a playbook? The real question is control. That's the question. Does he have a full autonomy? That's a question. The honest answer, in my opinion, if I had to answer it, is probably like a yes and no. Yes, he probably will call the plays. Yes, he probably will design game plans. He will run installs. But no, this is not a total teardown. This is not a dictatorship. Bad news, Nick Sirianni is probably not going to be hands off. This will probably be a collaborative offense, in my opinion. And that tells us the Eagles don't believe the offense was broken beyond repair. They believe it was probably poorly executed. These are the things I'm just coming up with in my mind. We're going to see the same bones, probably the same concepts, maybe different discipline. Let's talk about the upside that he brings. Let's talk about what he brings to the table, man. Quarterback development, that's probably the headline. He can definitely help Jalen Hurts. He's heavy on footwork, timing, pocket discipline, progressions, pre-snaps, the post-snap processing. That can help Jalen Hurts, man, especially under a lot of pressure. Jalen Hurts does get pressure a lot, so that can help him there. The upside here is faster decisions, cleaner answers, better early down efficiency, more on schedule throws. That's real. That's the things that you might see. But, what he does not bring to the table, what the risks are, let's be honest here. Sean Mannion has never been a full-time NFL offensive coordinator. So that's something to think about. He does, not have a proven play calling resume at all. Years of game day OC experience, probably none, not non-existence. A track record, defense is fair. They're not scared of this move. This is a projection hire. If it works, the Eagles look smart. If it doesn't, there's nowhere to hide, man. And Nick Sirianni will probably be fired. You know what I mean? And he will as well. But this is a pattern for the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Eagles love first-time hires. First-time head coaches, first-time coordinators. They believe in, the teaching ability. They believe in, culture fit, projection, those type of things. But let's compare that, to the outliers. When the Philadelphia Eagles hired Kellen Moore, that was different. It was different, bro. Kellen Moore had OC experience, play calling reps, a proven resume. And then what happened? What happened after that? We won a Super Bowl with them. So it's fair to ask, why go back to a first-time offensive coordinator now? It's just fair. That's not hate, man. That's just a fair evaluation of what we're seeing right now. Why go back to an OC that doesn't have no experience? Now, man, let's talk about how I really feel, man. Let me be clear about my stance, because I don't want this to get twisted by nobody, man. I'm not negative about this hire, right? I'm not rooting against Sean Mannion. I'm not saying he can't coach, because that's far from the truth. He is a good coach. They actually loved him over there in Green Bay. But I'm also not pretending, this is the guy who I wanted. I'm not going to do that. This wasn't my dream hire. This wasn't the name I was waiting on. Right now, I'm skeptical, right? I'm not dismissive, but I do realize there is some logic here. There is some plan here. There's historical precedence here if you really want to talk about it, but there is also uncertainty. This feels like a spray and pray almost. You know what I'm saying? Hope the structure works. Hope the QB development translate. Hope the collaboration is clean. All hope here. That's optimism, man, not certainty. And, you know, that's where the fear of the Kevin Patullo 2.0 comes in, a valid point. I'm not going to come at somebody and say they wrong, not because, you know, it's the same coach, because the risk profile feels similar. You know what I'm saying? Low ego, low resume, high trust required. You know what I mean? Now let's talk about what this means for Jalen Hurts. This hire is about protecting Jalen Hurts from chaos. It's going to be less hero ball, maybe some more answers, but they cannot over control him. You know what I'm saying? This has to be structure first, freedom second. If the balance is right, you know, this probably can work. If not, you neutralize what makes Jalen Hurts special, in my opinion. You feel me? Like, does that make sense in your opinion? So, you know, where do I land, right? I'm not mad. I'm not panicking. And I'm damn sure not celebrating. This hire puts everything on execution, in my opinion. No excuses. There's no grace period. If the offense looks sharper, connected, more disciplined, I'll give credit. You feel me? I'll give credit. If it doesn't, the questions we're asking right now are valid. So I'll leave this with y'all, man, as usual. I'll leave this with y'all. Do y'all want a brand new playbook or better execution of the one that we already have? Leave a comment down below. Drop your take. Look, I really want to hear from y'all on this because y'all are what's important to me. Because now the hire is done. It's time to prove it. It's time to let the Philadelphia Eagles fan base know that you can really show up and do the job. That's it. But I don't want to hold y'all too long today. You know what I'm saying? If you made it this far in the video, if you felt like this puppy helped you out, please do me a favor, do the channel a favor, like, comment, and subscribe, do all those things to make sure you keep the channel in rotation. But until next time, holla out.
Yeah, I got them diamonds on me dancing, looking like they prancing. Always on my BI, we talking about expansion. Looking at a mansion, open up the benches, hanging off the blicket, empty out the sticky, shooting like I'm Jimmy. Chipwood, this good, sorry that I'm this hood.
Quick shout out to all my Patreon members. You are the reason why we can keep doing this. If you want to catch those bonus episodes, that early access and exclusive content, you know where to be.